Hello, my name is Jo and I'm the curate at St Mary's Barrow and St Bridget's Breen. And this is my reflection for Sunday the 19th of April, which is the first Sunday after Easter. And the Bible passage that is relevant for this reflection comes from John chapter 20, verse 19 to 31. John 20, 19 to 31. Scars speak more loudly than the sword that caused them. We all have scars, some more visible than others, some physical and some emotional. They may not have been made by a sword, in fact, more likely not, but all our scars tell some kind of story. I have scars from operations that I've had in the past. There's this one on my neck from an operation to remove a thyroglossal cyst. And if you were to ever see behind my right ear, you would notice a very neat scar representing operations to remove a benign tumour from behind my eardrum, and then subsequent operations to reconstruct my middle ear. And these physical scars tell the story of lumps and bumps and 4 operations in as many years across 3 different hospitals. They tell of several days' worth of waiting in waiting rooms and quite a bit of time off from work afterwards to recover. But they also tell of the amazing skills and training of all those who were involved with my care. They speak of my gratitude towards the NHS. They tell of the deep love of my family and friends. They remind me of conversations with patients in neighbouring beds and the great relief of feeling back to normal once again. Thankfully, because of the wonders of general anaesthetic, I don't actually remember anything of the moment when I gained my scars. But my body certainly knew that I had been through something, and it took me weeks to recover from that. When people experience trauma, whether physical or emotional, there are often flashbacks to the horror of the moment. Jesus' disciple Thomas was still living in the horror of what he had seen just a few days before, when his teacher and friend, the man that he had spent the last 3 years with, learning from and looking up to, had been brutally killed. Nothing about Thomas's reaction is anything less than understandable. And yet we know him today as Doubting Thomas, the one who didn't believe until he had seen Jesus and touched his scars. We don't know why Thomas wasn't with the other disciples on that first evening when Jesus appeared. Maybe he was out getting food or something practical like that. Or maybe he was out because he just needed some space, some time on his own. Maybe he wasn't really coping very well with anything after Jesus had died. I wonder how many of us feel like we're only just coping in the current situation. Or we know people who don't seem like they are coping. The times that we are living through at the moment could be described as a long-term, large-scale trauma event. And the trauma can take many, many forms. Separation from loved ones, loss of independence, a sense of uselessness, loneliness, too much to do and to learn and to adapt to, disruption to everything we have previously found comfort in, financial uncertainty and redundancy, illness, facing firsthand the conditions in hospitals and care facilities, death and the fear of death. For some of us, like Thomas, we will not yet be able to see anything beyond the scars of this time. We will be thinking about the marks of the pandemic on society and the wounds to our nearest and dearest. And like for Thomas, the celebration of Easter Day may have seemed to pass us by and left us feeling even more confused. But this is not where God left Thomas. And it is not where he is going to leave us either. The risen Jesus did not leave Thomas in the dark. The scars that for Thomas were once the very symbols of horror, speaking only of the harrowing death of his friend, became the evidence that God's love is longer lasting than any trauma and goes far beyond it, even beyond death itself. Jesus' scars told Thomas a very different story in that locked room a week after the first Easter to the one that he thought they did before. Perhaps Jesus is again showing us a different story in the scars that we see today. So today, will we let him show us? I'm going to read a verse of a poem that Jonathan and Tracy used in the Easter Sunday service last week, and it's called Recognising You. And this is the verse that speaks particularly to our reading for today. Jesus in the locked room, breaking through despair and doubt, who comforted your friends when they had shut the whole world out, who came again for Thomas and revealed your hands and side, so that he could touch and know you as alive, though you had died. Jesus in the locked room, breaking through our self-built bars, help me recognise you in the touching of your scars. So Jesus, my Lord and my God, I bring to you now the scars that I am carrying, whether my own or others. Show me the new story that they are telling. Even in my doubting and uncertainty, step again into my life and transform it, so that I and all those who I encounter may have life in your name. Amen.